Guys, thank you very much for listening to the Photography Bar podcast. If you enjoy the show, please make sure to support us by subscribing to our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok, as well as our Patreon, all of which will be linked in the show notes. Please leave us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast apps such as Spotify and Apple Podcast. And with all that said, let's head to the bar.
Well, yes, hello. Today we're going to be talking about headshot photographers. Are your days numbered? Should photographers be able to refuse their services to anyone they feel they don't want to work with? And Peter Morgan drops in later from Tech Photogs to chat about portable drives and workflows. But before all about that, how are you, Mr. Assey? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Mark. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm all good. Got a busy week ahead, haven't we?
But we definitely have. Yeah, sitting here on a beautiful sunny morning, recording this show, so which bodes well. But I think that weather's due to change. Yes, we are going to be in the process of probably, literally shooting thousands of people during next week, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah.
And I think if you take everybody into consideration, we're probably. I don't know. We're probably hitting about 30,000 people possibly coming through the doors over all of the events, all of the places that we're at. So
I feel I'm doing a bit of a national tour next week. So yeah. So it's what, Staffordshire. So I'll be heading up to Staffordshire on Sunday for Monday, Tuesday, and then I'm off to York for Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm in Rotherham on Friday, and then back home.
That's right. Yeah, we follow the same schedule, except I'm not doing Rotherham. I'll be heading to Northampton and then back to Bedford. Yeah. But yeah, we are a little bit all over the place, but we've got to have our heads screwed on right for next week, and it's all to do with preparation because we've got it all going on now. Yeah, Mark. We are very busy, as we're saying. We're going to, we're going to be out, doing all these jobs that we've got to do. But we could very well find in the future that we may not need to actually go out and be doing all those shoots.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, very recently, I've been getting lots of social media messages about headshots, and where you don't actually need a photographer for your headshot anymore, but they're AI created headshots. Let me read you one of the companies from their website, what they actually say. They've got their title, which says Premium Headshots for Professionals, fully virtual, infinite retouches, precision curated and managed by real photographers. And it says try it now, and it's starting at $39 per person. They having a special offer at $29, so say $30 for a limited time.
About 25 quid, 25, 30 quid, something like that.
And it says elevate your team's image with dozens of styles to pick from. Choose from custom designed styles crafted by our expert photographers, touch-up artists, and cutting-edge AI technology. All images are expertly lit and captured with breathtaking detail. And do you know what, Mark? If the website is anything to go by, it's staggering. It really is. Because
I mean, you've mentioned a load of things there. Sorry, just to come in here. You mentioned a load of things there, but what does all that mean? I mean, to me, that does sound a lot of blurb. Cutting edge photographers have done this, and what exactly is it? Is anyone actually taking your photo, or is it? Okay. What is it?
Sure, it's okay. So let me break it down in something that's going to make sense. And in other words, I'll go through the actual process. So headshots are a big thing. People want a headshot for LinkedIn. They'll use it for their websites. The word headshot now is used more than ever before, from what I can remember. And it's very, very important to some people that getting the right headshot what you're doing with that headshot. You're putting yourself forward. You want to come across as, do you want to be serious? Do you want to be corporate? Do you want to be seen as, hey, look, I'm like a friendly person. I've got a great smile. All of that. What you wear is very important. And now more than ever, there are specialist headshot photographers. And some of the stuff that I see photographers, that what they shoot with the headshots, that they do look really, really good. But the way this works is that it basically says it's the this is the ultimate solution for professional headshots, and it says upgrade your image in under 5 minutes of setup without the hassle of a traditional photo shoot. It's, this is the worrying bit for photographers because this is so good. So step one, it says upload phone selfies. It says these can be existing selfies from your phone, or you can take new ones upon submitting. Now, before you sort of think phone selfie, okay, then it says step two. So you take a picture on your phone, upload it. Then it says choose a photography style. It says pick from one of our gorgeous stars curated by our professional photographers. Each style carries a unique lighting setup, background, and aesthetic. Step three, use your headshot. It says select your favorite from 50 plus headshot options we provide. Our team will continue providing touch-ups until you are satisfied. So what you do is you send a picture of yourself, and they've given examples on the website and of pictures that people have taken on their phones, and they're just your everyday pictures. Mark, they're not being lit properly. They're not necessarily, people have just sent a headshot of themselves, not even against a plain white background here. And when you see the final result, because what they do is they've got different backgrounds, so you get an image and they put it onto different backgrounds, but they make you look different in every single image. They
change the lighting on the face. I mean, so for example, if you want Rembrandt lighting, they can do Rembrandt lighting. If you can, you want to be in front of a desert island or something like that, they can do that. Or so they can do all of that just from selfie. Can they improve the photo from the actual camera? Because generally iPhone photos or Samsung photos or whatever, they're not the best.
If you saw this, Mark, you'd be staggered at this. Okay, it's a 2-day turnaround. They have it says variety of premium styles, dozens of unique styles to choose from, ranging from natural lit to white studio. And it says this place is a world-class virtual photography studio that uses a custom AI to create incredible photoreal portraits from a collection of selfies. No need to ever enter the studio in person. It says one of our team of veteran photographers curates and touches up final results so that you're always getting the best. I don't know how they're doing this, because when you look at the images, obviously it's AI, it's been done by that. But what they produce looks so different to your selfies that you're sending in. You look at the same person. Okay, so let's get this right. You don't look like a different person.
Right. Okay.
It looks like you, but yet they're changing the whole image and the whole feel and the whole background. It looks, the final result looks like a high-end headshot, beautifully lit by a photographer. And I really do think, we've spoken about this on the show many times. Oh, is this the end of photography? All of that, AI is taking over and everything. This is the first time that I've really seen something that could possibly affect your everyday headshot photographers. A company comes to you and they say, hey, look, we've got 10 members of staff here, we've got 50, we've got 100, we need headshots. It's a no-brainer to use something like this.
It certainly would be cheaper,
considerably cheaper and quicker, and a lot less hassle.
I guess, I mean, the AI thing, I mean, I guess any computer sort of, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to get my words out here, but I guess it's really stuff that is more sort of technically based than creatively based, I'm guessing. So that's where AI is really going to sort of make an impact in the photography industry. So, for example, headshots, they generally have specifics that are going to remain the same. So it's going to be head and shoulders. They're going to be looking at the camera. So whatever headshot you do, generally, they're going to be looking at the camera and it's going to be headshot. So that's something that AI can do. It knows it needs to be that. It needs to be those parameters, as it were.
Yeah.
And then, yes, you can load things in. Okay, this is what Rembrandt lighting looks like. This is what butterfly lighting looks like. And it can make these effects, because you do get AI systems now that can, upscale your images off the web and make them so you can print them poster size or something like that. You can get those systems now.
Yeah.
So that's, so I guess that's what they do with the pixelation or whatever it is from the smartphone.
Yeah.
So and that's how it works.
Yeah.
But the one thing I will just say, and this is, the reason I'm trying to say this as politely as I can, because I don't mean any disrespect to head photographers, because it is obviously a skill, but there is a certain type of automation that can happen with a headshot. Do you know what I mean? Most people, it's like a bit like a passport shoot. You know it's going to be a white background. It's going to be head and shoulders. You got to fit in these parameters. So yes, it's no wonder AI can take over from that. But it is very different to doing what I do, for example, with family photography, having to reason with a 2-year-old to make sure that they do what they want to do so I can take the photo, or like what you do with wedding photography. You got to organize everyone, put people into groups. Same with graduation photography. You've got if you've got 13 people in a family who want to have a picture, you've got to make sure that you can position them right. AI can't do that. AI can't interact with people to get the photos. So yes, I think certain elements of the photography industry will have issues. Headshot photography may be one of those. I guess maybe product photography in some respects might have that issue as well, because yes, there is an element of creativity, but there's not an element of interaction.
No, but I've heard about how product photography at the moment that it's not great with the AI at the moment, but they're really developing that, because you'll have a product. You work for a company, you've got a product, and the way it's going is that you won't ever need a photographer to photograph that product, because it will do it for you. You'll be able to just take it on your phone, and it will change it. Because the example I'm seeing, there's a picture of a guy here, again, headshot. Okay, so someone's taken a photo of this guy on their phone, and it's just face on, top of the head to just below shoulder level. Okay, and they've taken it outside, and you can see the street behind. Now, what AI has done, it's taken that head and it's given you an example of, it's put his head on and shown his new headshot as a doctor. So what it's done, in his original image on his phone, it's been taken with him wearing a grey t-shirt. Doesn't matter what t-shirt it is. Now they've done a doctor, and on that doctor, he's now wearing a white shirt, a blue tie, a doctor's a lab coat. He's got a stethoscope around his neck, and he's standing in a lab. The next one is formal. Okay, he's standing outside somewhere, just a blurred background, and he's wearing a black shirt and a grey sports jacket with something top pocket. Then the next one is sporty. He's in a gym and he's wearing a vest, and his body looks pretty good. It's just the same head and shoulders, got classy. He's standing in a bar. Then he's a chef in another one, and an engineer. It's an engineer.
But that can be done, because the actual picture's not changed, has it? It's just that head and shoulders of him, and the amount of times that these are all on our phones, isn't it? You get these things on your phone where you can have silly things coming out your head, or lots of people. I know there was a phase, wasn't there? I saw it on Instagram all the time. We have it's normally the girls have to say with hearts or around the head, or bunny ears, or something like that. I mean, it's just the next step from that, I guess.
It is,
because the general photo, there's no movement in the photo. You can do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
This is a step on from what you can do on your own on a phone, because the image is edited. It's more carefully edited, but it's edited in a way where it looks like you've been to a photographer. You wouldn't think, oh, that's they've taken all the bags out of my eyes and the wrinkles, and it's so far removed from what I really look like. That's not what this is. This is genuine. This really does look, I mean, I'm just going by the samples that they've got. What it is in reality is really, I think we'll get in touch with these guys and see what they say, and even get somebody onto the show. But this is definitely the way things are moving forward, Mark. And we see that since COVID. It's that thing of, the number of meetings now that we do via Zoom or Teams now. How work is shared online now, and people are becoming more and more tech savvy than they ever were before. And they're aware of all of this stuff. And photographers, photographers will always be needed, but in a different format to the way they are. But if you are a headshot photographer and you really do market yourself and you really specialize as a headshot photographer, I'd be a little bit concerned. I really would.
Well, same with product photographers, I guess, because this is going that way too. I mean, I guess we've got a long way to go before this becomes an absolute issue for people, but it's on the way. And maybe now's the time to use that time to add more strings to your bow. Maybe sort of start doing things which are more interactive with people. That's the sort of thing AI can't touch. AI can't touch that. Do you know what I mean? AI can't make it. Well, like I said before, I don't want to repeat myself, but AI can't interact with people like humans can, especially with children and older people and all that kind of stuff. So yeah. Anyway, I think it's probably time for a drink. I believe it's my round this time, so I'll get that sorted. You'll get the next ones. Okay, let's go. Right then, Cam. So, have you ever thought about refusing a client before? So someone comes up to you, maybe you don't like the cut of his jib or her jib, or they've said something to you that you found quite offensive and just gone, you know what, I don't want to work with you.
Yes.
Yeah. And have you actually gone through with that, or have you just bitten your tongue and taken the money?
No, I did actually do the job. In fact, it was a wedding. It's never happened to commercial clients, but it happened with a wedding where we had somebody who'd contacted us who wanted a wedding video, and the guy that contacted us was paying for it as a present for the bride and groom. Now he wasn't a videographer, but he suddenly thought he was a filmmaker, and we gave him a price, and he came back with 100 questions and how he wanted this filming, how he wanted certain things filming. I actually sent him an email back saying that we weren't the right people for him. What he wanted wasn't what we do. We're very adaptable. We film in our own a certain style, but we can always do things however the customer wants. But this was going too far, because I knew what was going to happen was that we were going to produce a perfectly good video, but he was going to complain about it. In other words, he would never have been happy with, regardless what we do, he would not have been happy with what we would have produced. And so I said to him, just, we're not going to be able to do it. I'd prefer you to use somebody else. And he didn't like that. And he then came back to me and saying, look, let me sort of clarify. Here's what I'm looking for. It's not too far different from what you say. Anyway, we ended up doing it. Yeah. And frankly, it was a bit of a nightmare on the day, because he was directing us on the day, and I couldn't concentrate on what we were doing. It was a bit of a funny story at the end of it, because the bride and groom really liked the video. But he didn't, did he? Well, what happened was he sent an email, and his message crossed at the same time that the couple sent me an email, purely by coincidence. And they said to me they were really happy with it. Thank me very much. He put in his email that there's a few things that the bride and groom would like changing. So these emails came to us within 2 minutes of one another. Okay. And anyway, so yes, that was the only time I said that I didn't, I think you should find somebody else.
I mean, I think that's really down to sort of working. There's no sort of ethical reason why you wouldn't want to work with that person. He was being a bit of a pain in the bum, basically.
Yeah, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to disappoint him. I didn't want to disappoint
I get that.
I wanted to give him what he wanted, but at the same time, some of the things that he was asking for weren't actually realistic.
Well, the reason I ask is because I was reading about this. I was reading an article on F-stoppers. I like F-stoppers, right? So I was reading this article on it, and it's something that happened in America, of course. Basically, a photographer. Now his name is a strange name, actually. His name is Bob. That's quite obvious. That's a normal name. Bob Updegrove.
Updegrove, yeah.
Updegrove. I've not heard that surname before. But anyway, so basically, it's a photographer in Virginia who refused to shoot a wedding for a couple purely because this couple it was a same-sex marriage, basically. So I think Mr. Updegrove is rather religious, and he doesn't, well, he doesn't believe. So he believed that marriage is meant to be a unique and sacrificial relationship between one man and one woman, that points people to Jesus Christ, sacrificial covenant with the church. So yeah, I mean, I'm not overly au fait with that, to be honest. Really, I don't particularly I don't agree with that particular statement, because I'll photograph anyone who's getting married. I don't have any particular religious beliefs, I guess. Basically, he refused. He refused that to do it, and I think this couple has taken him to court. And Bob Updegrove has actually won. Now, as much as I don't like what Bob Updegrove did, I don't like the fact he refused to his services because of their sexuality. I don't like that. However, I do think this is probably the right conclusion. I think photographers should have the right to say, no, I don't want to work with you. Even if I think his reasoning is deplorable and the reasons are deplorable, I still think people should have the right to say, no, I'm not going to work with you. And just to put it into a different text frame, right? If, and I'm not saying this is any correlation between these people at all, right? But let's say, someone who you had views who you disagreed with. It could be anything, right? So let's say a racist faction wanted you to take their photographs, and you were like, actually, I'm not comfortable with this. No, I think you need to find somebody else. I don't think there'd be any uproar with the general media or whatever, because actually lots of people will go, actually, I wouldn't want to do that too. But because obviously this is part of the LGBTQ community, and it seems like an abhorrent view that Bob Updegrove has, that's why there's an uproar. But actually, the decision is still the same. The decision is someone has refused to work with someone because they don't agree with whatever it is that they're about. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. I want to pick up on a couple of things there, Mark. First of all, we could very easily move this to a religious conversation, couldn't we?
Yes, I don't want to do that.
No, we don't want to do that. But the thing is what has happened to love thy neighbor, what has happened to being a good Christian and being understanding and that type of thing. Okay, so that's probably as far as deep as into the religious aspect I want to get, because
I don't just want to pick on the Christianity. There's a few religions who have this issue as well.
Exactly, that's right. Yeah, but I do believe that is there a religion that anywhere that says you should discriminate against others? Because if there is a religion that says you should discriminate against a certain other type of people, then is that religion worth believing in any way?
Well, that's a very difficult thing to say, because I think a lot of religions have this issue, so they do discriminate. But anyway,
let's bring it back, right? Let's bring it back to the photography aspect of it. And as photographers, so he says, okay, which I don't agree with here. Like any other artist, I want to create photography that I believe in. Okay, and then he says, I believe that marriage is meant to be a unique and sacrificial relationship. Okay, so forget the fact that it's a wedding and that, but he says, like any other artist, I want to create photography that I believe in. And you see, that to me, I don't believe that every single artist out there ever, of whatever form of art they're doing, have always created art, whether it's photography or painting, whatever, in something that they believe in. Because when you are working in the commercial world, you give the customer what they want, even if you don't like it, even if you don't believe in it, even if you think, Nah, I don't get it, but you know what? It's what they wanted. Oh God, I hate that picture, but it's what the customer wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm not creating photography there that I believe in. Okay, so I think that first of all sort of sprung out to me when I read the article, because that's poppycock. Right?
Yeah, no, it is. It absolutely is. Because I mean, we were talking about product photography earlier on. I know you do so. I mean, that you might have to take a photograph of a bottle of whiskey that you don't particularly like. Well,
I might not be a drinker.
Yeah.
I might be anti-alcohol. I might be an alcoholic. Okay,
but that's an interesting one, because if you were anti-alcohol, you refuse to do, let's say you were you are a very good product photographer, but let's say you were the best, most renowned product photographer in the whole wide world, and everybody and their dog wanted you to take their photographs of their products, right? Yeah. And let's say Jack Daniels wanted to do it, and because you don't, you're not and you don't drink, and you think maybe alcohol is a bad thing and we shouldn't be promoting alcohol, and you quite categorically said no, because I don't believe we should be promoting alcohol. You have the right to say no, don't you?
You do. However, the one thing I would say about that is, let's just say that let's just say it's a £10,000 contract or something that you've got. Are you then going to turn that away?
You might do if you feel strongly about it,
right? If you feel strongly about it, but the thing is like how far do you take that? If you can afford to say, hey, I'm not going to do that, and then fine, happy days, right? If you can actually afford financially to say, nope, I'm not going to do it, that's fine. But if you're turning work away when you can't afford to because of your principles, then that's a different thing.
Well, some might disagree.
I know, yeah.
Some might disagree. I mean, I guess the difference as well with this is, if you said no to Jack Daniels wouldn't turn around and sue you for not doing it, which is what's happened here. This couple has obviously gone, I've taken exception to that. This is discrimination. We're going to take this to court. And I know it's a different thing. I know one is about discrimination of people, but it's still, the photographer has the beliefs, whether you agree with those beliefs or not. And I don't agree with that person, the photographer's beliefs.
I mean, really, could he have not just said that he was fully booked? I mean,
that did cross my mind as well.
Right? Yeah. He said, look, I'm just not available. Okay, that's why. I mean, is this a little ploy? Okay, is this a little bit of free advertising?
Well,
okay, because
maybe I shouldn't have mentioned his name.
Right, because there's going to be a lot of people out there who are, against same-sex couples, and thinking that's the photographer that that's the photographer for me. I want to use. Hey, look, we're using, we're using this photographer who is who has got the same principles as us. This could be
could have done. He absolutely could have done, but then I guess he would say, "Why should I? I should be able to say no. I don't believe in saying." Do you know what I mean? He should be. His point would be, well, no, I can completely legitimately say this is my beliefs, and I don't have to hide it.
Yeah, it says, he claims his work qualifies as a personal creative expression protected by the Constitution. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, but if he claims his work qualifies as a personal creative expression, well, does it? Is it really a personal creative expression? Because you're guided very much about by the wedding that you're actually shooting.
I guess.
So I think there's a lot of there's a lot of flaws in all of this. I've not said whether I think you were saying that the right decision was made. I don't know enough about the case to be able to say either way, other than what we're reading. Just saying that I think it's just all a bit flawed, and it's treading dangerous ground or dodgy ground. Yeah,
I think it's about the right of a business to refuse a client. I think no matter who the client is, no matter what it is. I think it's, don't get me wrong, I think it's morally wrong. I think, it's always the same with this freedom of speech. Yes, I have the right to say what I want to say, but you also should think, should I say it? And I guess that's the same with this. I agree. The photographer has the right to say no, because I disagree with your lifestyle or whatever. It doesn't mean I agree with that guy's point of view, because I really don't. And there's probably a lot better photographers out there that will do a much better job than Bob Lovegrove or whatever his name is.
Now, here's just wanted to say another thing, because I was looking through some of the comments here, and somebody says, well, would you refuse to do, the job for if it was a paedophile? Now, okay, right. Now, this is interesting because it's a paedophile. Okay, so you can say, I'm not going to do it because this person is a paedophile. Now, that person, you're saying that on the grounds that this person is breaking the law. This person is doing no good. Yeah. But a couple who are in a same-sex marriage might be the most upstanding citizens, might be good people. Okay, so there's no need to discriminate against them. But then this guy's probably thinking, well, the Bible says, what it actually says, and that's the law that I'm governed by. It's when it comes to it, as far as discrimination is concerned, anyone that discriminates against anyone, if in my opinion, is not somebody that I particularly want to relate with, especially if they discriminate, because there's good and bad in all sorts of people. Somebody might discriminate against somebody because of their religious beliefs, but that's wrong to discriminate against somebody about their religious belief. But if you're discriminating because that person is a paedophile, then that's a different thing. Oh, this is really dodgy ground. This is
well, it is. Yeah, I have to say, as soon as you say, the paedophile thing, it probably isn't the right comparison, because paedophilia is illegal, and thank heavens, being gay is not illegal anymore, which is, it should never have been in the first place, obviously.
I mean, if a drug dealer came, if you knew that this was a drug dealer, then you can sort of turn around and say, well, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. I don't care if this person is gay or straight. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't matter to me what this person's religious beliefs are. But he's a drug dealer and he's well known. I'm not going to do it. Yeah, that's a different thing.
And but you should have the right to say that. I guess.
He should have just said he was fully booked. As I said,
that's what he should have said.
Unavailable. And that would have been. It would have been.
It would have saved himself a lot of issues.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, he probably believed that he doesn't need to do that.
It also to do with where he lives. It could be very much. It is America. I don't know enough about America and certain places, but Virginia. Is it particularly religious? It could be the people he surrounds himself with.
Might be.
It's also so he's obviously dictated to, or influenced rather, by his surroundings as well. So
no, absolutely. So it's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. But just go somewhere else if someone says no to you, because exactly. just go somewhere else, because at the end of the day, also customers have the right to choose who they want to have their photographer, who their photographer is. So I think it should work both ways, to be honest. But just go. There's probably a lot better photographers out there than this guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
Good stuff. Right then. Right. I think Peter's going to join us soon.
I think so. Yeah. Should we grab a drink and then we'll get Peter in?
Okay. Right then, so so we're back here, and once again we are joined by Peter Morgan from Tech for Togs, and we've got some tech questions to ask, haven't we, Cam?
We have, yeah. Hi, Peter. Thanks for joining us, and we've had you on now for a couple of the shows, and we're talking about all tech stuff and tech questions, stuff that's really important to photographers, whether they're hobbyists or working professionals. We've spoken about how long people should keep their files backed up for. We've spoken about different backing up options of work. We've spoken about Mac versus PC. These are all things that that are important to us. Now, what I wanted to talk about mainly was about external drives and portable drives, because when it comes to backing up work, I back up my work on a range of different portable drives. So I have these small portable drives. I think they're all Seagate drives, little sort of palm-sized handheld drives that I'll go and buy, and I'll keep 2 or 3 in my bag. I've got them dotted about everywhere, so I can carry those around with me easily enough. And then I've also got some of the bigger portable drives, so sort of say portable drives, desktop drives, external drives that plug into the mains. Okay, and they both, the ones that I've got that plug into the mains are both 12 terabyte ones. And I still use those as portable drives. I keep one plugged in here at my office, which is the 12 terabyte drive, and I keep one at home, and I bring in the one from home to copy what I've got on my office drive, and then I take it back home with me. So I don't like the fact that I plug it in and out of the mains. It's probably not a good thing to do, but I don't do that all the time. So when it comes to these portable drives, what's, apart from, I guess, the file size that they can actually storage size, what's the main difference and the main benefits of these small portable drives that you can hold in your hand compared to the bigger ones that you would plug in?
I think portability is key, to be honest. First of all, thanks for having me back on.
No worries.
And
No worries.
thanks for inviting me to the bar, right? I think portability is key. And what we're really talking about here is making sure that things are backed up. So, you can, any type of backup is better than no backup. The cost implications of these smaller drives, you can buy a 4 terabyte drive for about 150 quid now, which you can store all your work on. The downside of them being that it's one copy. If you lose the drive, if you lose the drive, if the drive data on the drive gets damaged,
so you need to buy two, basically.
Yeah,
and that's what I do. Every
gone.
time my drive runs low, and I know it's coming and they're all backed up, and I've got to buy two more drives. One just mirrors the other, basically.
Yeah, that's right. And then once those cost implications start going up, you're then now looking at, okay, so I've got two drives. So have I got to copy the data from one onto one and then from one onto another? Okay, so there's a time implication to that. Okay. And then it's a case of, well, where does one go? Have I got to take that drive somewhere? So then you start looking at things like, well, if I'm going to spend £350 on two drives, is it not worth me looking at a NAS drive? We spoke about NAS drives before. Is it not worth me looking at something like that? So, and what are the implications of using that and then integrating that with a cloud-based backup? So I think the key thing is that every photographer works differently. There's no one solution to fit all. It just doesn't exist because we all have different ways of working, different workflows, and we'll have different times of the day where we can do our admin. When we can, how much do we understand? How much work does it take to ensure that something is backed up? Is it something that we can do and automate? If it's automated, how do we check that things are backed up? It's not, it's not, good enough to assume. My dad always used to say, assumption is the mother of all. But quite rightly so. You assume something's going to be backed up using your two drives, then you come to find out. Where the heck's those files gone? And
I think. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say I wouldn't mention it if it hadn't happened to me. And still continues to happen to me. Much less so now because I'm much more prepared. But the other day, for example, I went to go and retrieve some data off a card that I'd used, an SD card that was in one of the cameras, and when I pulled it out, it caught on the camera and the clip snapped and it just stopped. I couldn't get it to work. If I hadn't had another backup, or another two backups in this case, that data would have been
you'd have been screwed, basically. Absolutely.
The other thing I've come across this is where there are photographers, and it sounds crazy, but I don't think they're even aware that portable drives even exist. They just store everything on their hard drive of their laptop,
computer,
of their desktop. Yeah, and that's it. it's, and then they're wondering why the computer's slowing down, and and all of that,
I can
because there's so much
testify that that's definitely the case.
But if
Yeah.
but you know what, I know this because if photographers have gone out and bought a PC or a laptop and said, oh yeah, but I've got a terabyte of space in here, I can store everything on here. It's like, no, don't do that.
Well, one of the
Right?
things, I mean,
You
we
know.
were talking about expense when it comes to buying Macs. The laptop that I picked didn't have a particularly big hard drive because I don't need it, because everything is going to be on a portable hard drive. I don't store anything of any really importance on my hard drive. So that actually saved me a few bob as well, because I didn't go for the bigger hard drive. So
That's right, yeah. And
I guess you're forcing yourself to move that data from the hard drive. When you've got no choice, that's the only choice, right?
yeah.
At the end of the day, you want your desktop or your laptop to be working as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And obviously, the more stuff that you've got stored on your laptop, if you've got files and stuff stored on your laptop or your PC on your drive, that's going to naturally slow everything down. So get rid of it all, and that's and I think that's a big thing that people do actually miss. They forget about that. They just store everything onto their hard drive, onto their computer hard drive. And so these portable drives and plug-in mains drives are really important. However, I've fallen foul of this several times. I've had so many drives that fail, portable drives that have failed, but I've always got backups of those. None of those are 100% reliable, and which I find really frustrating. I actually think they should be a lot more reliable than they are. So don't back everything up on one portable drive and think I've got everything backed up, I'm safe, because that portable drive, the next time you plug it in, may not pick up. May not work.
One of the important things that you just mentioned was about storing all the. Sorry to come back to this, but it's quite an important point. Is storing everything on your internal drive, and people do say to me, well, I've got a terabyte's worth of space. Why wouldn't I store it on there? You have to think of your computer system being like a library, and all the files and photographs and music are like books in that library. Imagine you walk into your local library and you've got 1,000 books in your mobile library. It's going to be significantly quicker for you to find the book that you want, then if you walk into the National Library Archive and there's 10 million books in there, you'll be like, how the heck am I going to find what I want? Computers work in a much similar way, in that the fuller that your hard drive becomes, the more difficult it is to retrieve the files that you want quicker. And you can actually get to the point where if your hard drive becomes too full, it won't boot up. It won't
exactly, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing is again, I mentioned it on I've started to mention it sort of recently because I've been in the process of doing it, is about the businesses going more and more paperless. So when it comes to anything to do with Word documents or any spreadsheets or any sort of admin stuff, shall we say, then basically what we've been doing is we've been shifting that all over to Google Drive. We've been shifting it, we've been using Dropbox for ages as well. So anything apart from images now, we have all of that backed up. And the other great thing is if Mark, if we're going out to do a shoot and there's just me and you involved, or there could be 4 or 5 of us involved, there could be 15 of us involved in a shoot, I now set up a spreadsheet that we can all access that has got details of that job, and that's on Google Drive, so everybody can access that spreadsheet and everyone can see, here's where the shoot is, here's where we've got to be, here's the hotel information we're going to be staying at, here's the time that we've got to be on site. Everyone has access to all of this, and it means that we don't have paper trails. Everything, we can go back and see, and everyone can comment, and everyone can make a comment on a spreadsheet, and we can all see it. These are all things to do with sort of making sure that your work is backed up somewhere else.
Exactly. And when you look at kind of portable drives and the reliability of them, just exactly like you were saying, you are relying on a piece of moving equipment, less so with solid state drives or SSDs, because they are like a flash memory stick. There's no moving parts in there. It's all there's less things to physically damage if it gets dropped.
Yeah.
Whereas a traditional SATA or the disk type hard drives, normally found in desktop drives as well, if that's dropped, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Just as an example, so I had one of my clients had a disk that she dropped down the stairs with a hard drive. She was working upstairs, took her laptop downstairs, carried the hard drive in her hand, dropped it out of her hand, bounced all the way down the stairs, and it's the bill that she got for recovery was £680, and that's
Yeah.
to rebuild the hard drive in a hermetically sealed room because you
Yeah.
can't get dust in these things.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? Rebuild it, replace the broken parts in the hard drive, and then copy the contents of the old broken drive across to a newer drive. Because you have to rebuild the old hard drive to make
Yeah.
it work before you even transfer all the information over to a new hard drive.
And what's the guarantee there after spending £680 that you get all your images back or all your files back?
That's right, because whilst all the data can be recovered, if there's a physical damage to the surface of a hard drive disk, you're not going to be able to recover the data on that.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
a
done.
record having a scratched groove,
Yeah. Yeah.
So think of it that way. So portable drives, I do love them for their portability, ease of use, and pricing. But the downside for me is the fact that they are fallible.
Yeah.
In that case.
So have to always back up your
Yes.
back up your drive, basically.
That's
Always back
correct.
it up. Yeah.
And the thing
And
is,
especially look at backing up on site if you're a photographer.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
And
when it
like
comes to backing up on site then. Oh, sorry, Kat, did you want to ask a
Well,
question?
yeah, no, in actual fact, no, it's all relevant actually, Mark, for what you're going to say. Actually,
Yeah.
was like anything else. There's good and bad. There's cheap versions, there's good versions, and everything. I know that what I was going to say was I see again because we work with so many different photographers. A number of times I see photographers who put out a portable drive out of their bag, and it's not in a case. It's just the portable drive. That's it. And I was thinking, you need it in one of those zip up cases,
Rugged,
like case or something.
rugged
That's right,
drives.
yeah. Or you, yeah, exactly, as Mark's holding up there.
Yeah,
Or you buy one of,
guys can't see, but yeah.
yeah, or you buy one of those drives that that Lacey make that have got the rubber surround, around them, which are they're sort
They
of
are
called rugged.
drop proof.
Yeah,
They're dropped
called
when they are drop proof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, it's
So-
not something you want to put to the test either, but
No.
I have to put it to a test.
Well,
Lacey
they do,
gave
but
me
we
one
don't.
at the photography show, and they were like, "Yes, drop proof." So I said, "Oh, thanks very much," and I just dropped it, and their faces dropped, and they were literally just like, "Okay, let's just show you that we can get the data back off this," and it worked perfectly. I gotta say,
That's
Yeah.
cool.
But it is about being careful with them. It is about and making sure that you spend good money on these as well. You can go onto Amazon, you can find some real cheap stuff, and you think, oh yeah, I got this portable drive for £35, yeah, or £10 or something.
Yeah.
Whereas I spent 150 on one. It's how precious and it's how valuable that work is. How valuable that work is, and then obviously when you're carrying it about and you're going on site. Mark, this leads into what you were going to ask.
Yeah.
That you go. And as I said, I was out on a construction site last week, so and I took the drive out of my bag, unzipped it, put it into the drive, and then put it back in afterwards. And we had to be careful because where we were in a field where there was a lot of dust and a lot of muck going around everywhere and everything. So you have to be careful of things like that because these portable drives, you can carry them out on site. So Mark, that probably leads into
I mean, one of the things that me and Cam we do pipe on about, which we won't go into too much, is the fact that if you're shooting a wedding or you're on whatever you're shooting, really, you should really be using a camera with two card slots, so one's backing up the other. I mean, we that's something that we both massively agree on. But backing up on site, other than that, I mean, there are options, I think, aren't there? So you're probably not going to have access to the cloud. Generally, you can't rely on that. But there are some other devices out there, aren't there, that can be quite useful for backing up what's on your cards to another device just to basically cover your ass, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Lacey, Seagate, all of these, you know, the G Drive, they all have options that are rugged. I use the Lacey ones for the simple reason that they've survived the test, really, not just the photography show drop test, but just
Yeah,
just generally, you know, being dropped on a stone floor, you know, at a wedding
yeah.
venue when I'm typically trying to carry too much, you
Mm.
know. So yes, but I think the important thing is that you back up. So that might mean, as an example, if you're a wedding photographer during the wedding breakfast, when the couple have sat down, maybe they've already done the speeches, maybe the speeches are coming up, but you have a window of time there to sit down and edit maybe 20 or 30 pictures for the bride and groom, for the evening guests to be able to see. We take that time to plug the cards with the data on it into a backup drive. Now, at the moment, I'm using a Lacy Boss system. Boss stands for Backup On-Set System, and it's basically one of those orange Lacy drives with a card reader built in. When you
Ah, okay.
when you now, the annoying thing is that Lacey have now discontinued this product, so
Mm.
you're only going to find it if you find existing stock out there, and if you can find them, they're expensive but possibly one of the best pieces of tech that I've bought for my photography business, besides obviously
Mm.
cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
Because you put the SD card in there, there's a button on the top of the device which is all rubberized. You press the button and it says copy card. There's a little
Mm.
screen on it that says copy card. You press the button again and it copies the contents of the card to the 1 terabyte drive inside. A 128 gig card will probably take just shy of a minute and a half to copy the contents across, so
Mm.
that there's my backup. You know, already I've got two backups with me having two cards within the cameras, but there's a second. So if somebody steals that camera, which, you know, is
Mm.
probably more of a possibility in Wales than anywhere else.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. You know, there are some places in England I'll be very careful where I leave my
but
camera.
yeah, but I've had it before now where I've been at a venue, I've put my camera down, turned round, and one of the guests has decided to pick my camera up, and I'm like, you know, what are you
Yeah, what
doing?
you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, you know, they drop that, or sort of
Mm,
drunk guest drops
Mm.
that,
mm,
and that's it. Those photographs are
mm.
gone. So it's important that you back up. Now you don't necessarily need to go out and buy a backup on-set system, which is quite expensive if you can find them anyway. Incidentally, they also did another version before this backup on-set system, which you might also be able to find, called the DJI Copilot,
Oh,
Yeah, I
yes.
have one of those. Yeah.
yeah, which
Yeah.
had a
Mm.
2 terabyte drive in it.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
instead of being that iconic orange, it was grey.
Yeah.
Mm.
They had a 2 terabyte drive, which was a
Mm.
SATA drive, slightly slower than the solid state
Mm.
drives that's in the newer Boss systems, but worked in exactly the same way. You
Mm.
could
Mm.
even plug your phone into it, and it would act as a battery for your phone, because there's a
Ah,
That's
mobile
right. Yeah.
phone battery in it
Yeah.
as well,
yeah.
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
connects to the app that comes with the device,
Mm.
which allows you to then view the photographs that are on the
Yeah.
device on
Mm.
your mobile phone.
Yeah, that was really
That's
good. I
cool.
bought it, I think, not long after it first came out because I thought it answered the question. It was great, but I had some. I just found it to be a little bit slow. It obviously moved on since then,
Yeah.
and then there was an issue with folders and where it was putting images, and I wasn't quite sure. And I think perhaps I was having to press the button; it wasn't quite responding, and I think they upgraded
Yeah.
it. But I actually do need to take it out again. I think I might just update. I might just
There's a
plug it back
firmware
in,
update for them, I
firmware
think.
update, and see if it works any better, because I've just got it in a cupboard in in my office here, so I will get that back out
They are
again
very
now.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other thing I wanted to mention, and Mark, that was you mentioned it about the SD cards. When you go out and how important it is having backup slots. If you're a professional photographer, you should be working with a camera that's got two backup cards, two card slots with an overflow. Now, I don't want to talk about. We know the importance of that. We've mentioned it many times. Okay, but there's one thing I just did want to mention about that and the SD cards. And Mark, it's something that you do that I would never do, and I have never done. And you feel, and you don't seem to have a problem with it. Okay, and that is that when I go out on a shoot, Peter, I don't know about you here. Okay, if you agree with Mark, absolutely fine. When I go out on a shoot, I've got my cards in the cameras. Okay, I will take my card out of the camera at the end of the shoot, put it into plug it in wherever I'm going to download it. Download the card, take the card back out of the card reader, pop it back in the camera. That's it. I'm done with the card. Okay. All I'm going to do is carry on shooting on that card, or in camera, I will format that card. I will delete everything and reformat that card when it gets full. So I've got another clean card. Now, Mark, what you do is you actively use that card to create folders, don't you? And drag images. You use that as a working SD card. Okay. Now, I find that really uncomfortable.
Hang on. Because I don't think you quite understand what I do here. Actually.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the reasons why I do this is something I do in my studio. So, for example, if I've got, say, 4 or 5 shoots going on in my studio, what I do is I'll always have a backup. Okay, so the backup's always there in my camera.
Yeah.
But after every shoot, I will download them onto a hard drive.
Okay.
Now, what I always then do is when I plug in the hard drive, when I plug the card into the hard drive, it comes up. For me, it's a Canon camera, so you go into DCM or whatever it is, and then it'll go 100 Canon. You click on that, and that's where all your photos are.
Yeah.
Well, what I do then, before I put it onto my computer, what I'll do is I'll put the name. I'll change that 100, that folder name from 100 Canon, whatever it is, to the name of the client, the session number, maybe the date, and then put that into a folder on my computer, which is also linked to that client.
Okay.
When it's downloaded, what I then do is I put that, because I've only used, if I'm using a 64 gigabyte card, I haven't used the whole card, right?
Yeah.
So I'll put that card back into the camera, and I'll use it for the next shoot. Now, what that does, as far as the camera is concerned, because I've changed the directory name of that folder, which is on the card, the camera can't read it.
Right.
So it's also a fail-safe check. If it says there's no image on there, and I know there's images on there, because you go to format and you can see the amount that's on the card, right? I know I've downloaded it.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does.
So if I see images on the camera, that means, right, I need to, before I format this card, I need to check and make sure I've downloaded it. If it says no image on there, because I've changed the directory, there are images on that card, but the camera can't read it, then I know that I have downloaded it and I'm free to format the card. So it's just a little system that I have to stop myself from deleting the wrong images.
Right. Okay. No, that's fine. But you see, for me, I would never. It's just me. I would never do anything to an SD card. I would never rename a folder. I would not create new folders in an SD card. I would never do anything. I would take the SD card out of the camera, download it on the card reader, put the card back in, and I'm done with it. Okay.
Peter, what do you think?
I always think that if you do anything on the SD card, anything like that, whether it might increase the chances of that card becoming corrupt or anything at all, anything.
But I have a backup.
Right. Yeah, but even still, you don't want that card to become a corrupt card. Now that's just me. Somebody might say, no, you're just being overly precious. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But yeah,
so
Peter, what's your take on that?
So there's a couple of things to consider here as well. The first is really that I don't think it's a bad idea to rename that folder, but don't then leave it on the card. Okay.
Right.
You can rename the folder. You can drag it in. Personally, with my workflow, where I'm pulling stuff into the computer, I'll import into Lightroom and it gets renamed then. It gets put into a folder and the metadata saves the location, the date, time, which wedding it was, what venue it was. All of that gets stored within Lightroom anyway. Storing stuff on cards is not necessarily a bad thing. But once you start messing around with the folder structure, sometimes it can affect when you put it back into the camera. So it's like people who format their cards on their computer and put it in the camera.
I never do that.
Yeah,
No, I don't do that.
cards. Yeah,
Yeah.
cards should. I know a lot of people who've done it. Yeah,
They do. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like, you always format the card on the device that you're using it within, right? So personal preference, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I'm assuming there you're looking for folders, you're not looking in Lightroom for.
Yeah, that's correct. So, but basically, because I tend to edit at home rather than at the studio, so or on a different device, whatever the computer I have in my studio is quite an old one, but it is purely for showing images rather than working on images. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'll edit in a different place. So all I'm trying to do really is download the folder.
I understand, yeah.
And put that on there. But the other reason why I do it is because I don't format the card straight away. If there is an issue there, then I can go back to the card and re-download it. So it's also a fail-safe for that too.
Do you know what I find is funny? Not about this, but just is the way we all work differently.
Yeah,
and how that all, it makes sense to all of us, right? And like I might think, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But for you, that works, Cam's
Makes
looking
sense
at
to
you
me.
thinking,
Yeah.
my
What
God,
the hell is he doing?
What's he doing, right? But ultimately, because we've all adapted from different ways of working, it's about how you make it work for yourself. And I think trying to change too much in one go, it's like when you first go on a diet and you've got to eat greens and you've got to do this and do that. Incremental mini changes, when you're steering a ship to New York, you make incremental changes to get you there,
Yeah.
So that's the kind of way to look at it, I would think, is look, if there is a better way of doing this that is going to work for you, then look at that. But otherwise, if it's working for you, then stay with it. The most important thing is stuff is getting backed up at the end.
Yeah, well, that's it. I also think the other way where this came from is I have worked in studios where other photographers are using the same card.
Yeah.
So it's always, so you're entrusting that the other photographer is going to do a good job, or the photographer that's used the card before you.
Yeah.
So I know that if someone has downloaded and I'm
get your own cards.
Yeah. Well, if you're working, I mean, this is the time when I was working for a company and it wasn't my business, you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So, I know that. So when I picked up the camera and there was images there, I'd be like, okay, other photographer, have you downloaded these images? Because I can see the images on the camera. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and then that comes back to, again, customizing your workflows so that it works for you. And as saying earlier, there's no one solution that kind of fits everything, really. My workflow is going to be different to Mark's, as it's going to be different to Cam's, and ultimately that's there are fundamental things that are immovable. One is that you have to have a backup, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's the important thing, isn't it?
Around that,
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, around that, then it comes down to workflow, how you work. I know when I walk away from a wedding, I've got at least 2, if not 3 copies of a file, because I've got one on the card, I've got one on the orange Lacy Boss backup drive, and I've got one on the computer when I've imported all the pictures temporarily to create a slideshow for the bride and groom. Those pictures, once they're backed up at home, they get deleted off that because I don't store anything on the Mac. They are specifically there to run the slideshow for the bride and groom so that the evening guests can get to see what's gone on during the day. And that's it.
Yeah, and I think one, as you said, there's one thing I want to finish off on is one we're saying that we all have our own way of working and everything, and I think that's fine. But for your process there at wedding, what we do, Peter, most of the time, because generally when we shoot a wedding, there's 4 of us that go out. So we've got photography and video, 2 photographers, 2 videographers. So what I tend to do is, because we don't have the time to back up before we all leave, because by the time we've finished, we all want to just go home. Okay. So we don't want to sit and wait while a card's being backed up and that type of thing. So what I tend to do now is I will take, because all of the cameras that we use, photography and video, they're all 2 card slots. Everything's backed up. We'll take out 1 set of cards. I'll give them to one of the team. That person will take all those cards home with them. Okay. And then I'll take 1 set of cards, and I know that I'll be backing those up. So I know that when I've left a wedding, although they've not been backed up on portable drives anywhere at that stage of actually leaving that wedding, I know that I'm not the only one that's got all of those cards, and I'm the only one that's got the images. They have actually gone off in a different direction as well somewhere, and I find that for me that's like real peace of mind. I think that's that works really well for me, because I'm always paranoid that one person has got all of the images and has gone away with them, because you don't know what can happen,
exactly. I mean there's lots of different ways of there's lots of different ways ensuring that everybody gets access to all files.
Yeah, I used to have that DJI Copilot when I was using it before. I'd have it on, I'd leave the wedding and I'd plug it in while I'm driving. It's backing up.
Yeah.
And, and then I think I'd take another card out. And then when I was driving, then I'd get lost with it. I think, oh no, which card did I back up? It was those sort of things. It's easily done. Okay, you do have a system,
Yeah, but do you know how? Do you know how you'd know which card you backed up and what haven't?
No, but I'm sure you could do it.
You change the name of the bloody folder.
Yes, But again, it all shows we all do something. We all do it differently. And some people go, oh no, I would never do that. Or this, I'll show you a much better way of doing it. Just find a system, as Peter, as you said, that works for you. But it's got to be an efficient process as well, and a reliable process as well.
Yeah.
And my thing is to do with keeping it simple, but making sure that you're not opening yourself up to something else potentially going wrong. And I think they're the biggest things. So
absolutely,
good stuff.
And that's all tech is really tech should, at its very core, it should empower us, not hinder us, right?
Yes,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Excellent stuff. Right then, so thanks again, Peter, for dropping by. It's always an interesting conversation, and I wasn't expecting you to have to referee between me and Cam for a bit there, but it's all good. It's all good. And we look forward to having you pop round again. That'd be lovely. Because I mean, there's so many other tech things that we'd love to talk to you about. I mean, we haven't even touched AI, which I think is a whole nother thing, which we would like to have a chat with you in the future. But yes, I think we'll say goodbye. Thanks everyone for listening. Cam, I think you want to say something about the socials.
Yes, guys, thank you again for listening. Please subscribe and like. We're on the main podcast outlets, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, all of those, and we're also YouTube. Don't forget our Patreon channel as well. 5-star reviews, please. They're really important. Nothing less is acceptable. But we're here to support you as photographers that are working out there, or just doing it as a hobby, as an interest. And please keep on listening and supporting. And we will see you in the next episode. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye for now, guys.